Hi, we're gonna do the fire signs now. I thought I'd start with Aries because y'all are going through it, eh? So Aries moon rising and ascendant. Right now this new moon is happening in your 7th house. That's heavy. You also have had Mars doing a whole little retrograde dance with Lilith, with the black moon Lilith in your 1st house. Like, I don't blame you if you feel hot tempered and overwhelmed and tricked and deceived. This is happening in your house of mirror. So you're seeing what you should be seeing is you should notice like a coupling almost. Like people seem to be unified inside themselves. The people you're finding are connecting with, they're not looking for like a they're not looking for somebody to lean on. They're looking at you, revitalizing your inner structure and your power and holding your temper and watching your tongue, and people are approaching you differently. They're not approaching you the same way that you used to. And I think you're starting to recognize this. You're really able to tap into your leadership here, but you have to be careful because there's like a balance beam, right? So people are looking at you differently because you're approaching things differently. But like Mars isn't going to be retrograde forever. We have until January, right? For this, I mean, it's a long transit, but it's not going to be in your sign forever. And once it moves, you're going to have to move on with these lessons. And are you still going to be holding your tongue and revising yourself, or are you going to let those lessons go and find some new way to do things, or just go back to the old way? It's really up to you. But for now, people can see that you're changing. Like, people can see that you're not applying yourself. They can feel it. And this is, for you, very much Lilith's story. Black Moon Lilith has been with Mars for most of this retrograde in your sign. And the sun is really just like opposite this. Like, the sun and moon is just like highlighting this. So it's really about balancing your drive and your autonomy. I know that sounds like it shouldn't be a thing, but it really is, because if you're so driven that you give up on your certain levels of autonomy, you may get to the race, but you're not going to get there all in good quality. You're going to be missing pieces because you gave up on certain boundaries. You did cheats to yourself. And that's what this is really about, Aries, because for you, that's always a big problem with Mars ruled signs, is that you guys cheat yourself. Because you just want it done. You just want to win, and you don't care, you don't think all the way through about how that's going to be an empty win. So people are really seeing that. So that's a big thing for you, Aries. Neptune retrograde is still going through your 12th house. This is a long transit. Neptune will be in this sign for a much longer time. It's already been there for a decade, I think. But when it's in this aspect, which it is to Saturn and Jupiter, and it's also in aspect to the new moon, Neptune is telling you it's okay to release. You can see why it's a good thing to let go. Like, when Neptune goes in retrograde, the bullshit comes off. The rose-colored glasses come off, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, crap. Like, I have a really funny story about Neptune retrograde. I was staying with some people a while back, and they had I met them during a Neptune transit, and everything was so mystical and magical, and I went to their house, and I was like, oh my god, and they had baby raccoons that they were like fostering. Oh my god, this is so cute. And I stayed with them for a bit, and I like kept to myself, and I was doing my own thing, and Neptune turned and went retrograde while I was staying there in the first couple of weeks. And it's a slow transit, so sometimes you need something like a new moon to like activate it, because it's always there. Neptune spends half the year in retrograde, and same with Pluto. This is not something that's like surprise, you feel it on the instant. But when there's a new moon, especially a new moon or a full moon or something where both the luminaries are activating it, you get a really big smoke, which is what you're going to get here, a smoke clearing. So when this happened, which is really funny, there was a bunch of like people that were like concerned for these raccoons, and the place that I was staying was actually a privately run old folks home, and someone had reported that they had wild animals there and they weren't taking care of them, and it was dangerous for the senior citizens and the residents, which it wasn't. Like, they were all segregated and they had their own cage and they had their own office. Like, they never came near people. But still, it was like a thing, and they had to be taken away. And it was almost like when that happened, it was almost like the veil dropped. And you could see that, oh yeah, it's a cute situation, and it looks nice for pictures, is sweet to think about. But practicality is you can't excuse my language, you can't raise raccoons. I mean, that's not what they're wild animals. They're meant to be living out in the wild. They're not meant to have a little house in a nursing home and be somebody's pet. If you want to have, like, that's why people started having furs and like stuffed taxidermy stuff, is because the wild animals will deserve to have a wild life. And there would be times back and forth where the argument would be like, oh, it was good for them, it was good for me, it was good for them, it was. But the truth of the matter is, once the veil drops on Neptune retrograde and we get like an illumination like this, there is no more bullshitting yourself. Like, you can't lie to yourself anymore. This is happening for you in the 12th house, okay? So there is subconscious stuff that's coming up. It's going to rear its red head up, and you're going to be like, oh my God, how did I not see that before? I promise you, it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks. It's going to come at you through partners, and it's going to come at you through work. Okay, so like people and things that you're really driven to do, and people who you're really driven to meet their level of success, and like anything that kind of represents that like highest reach for you, like your biggest goals, you're gonna feel this adjustment to egocentric analogies and to your own ego and to your own autonomy. You're gonna be feeling that, and you're gonna get triggered from those places. So watch out for that. He's a heavy one, Aries, but like, it's worth it, you know? And you might have to ride alone for a bit, but you're an Aries. You'll be fine. You'll ride alone and you'll blaze a new path nobody's ever been down. So anyway, thank you. Talk to you soon.